What is up, everybody? Savage Bernie here, bringing you some free-for-all action on Rig. Now, the reason I chose Gears of War Judgment for this gameplay is because a new article I found has come to light that I wanted to talk about. It is actually about the next Gears of War, and I thought we would talk about that a little bit because some interesting things have come to light in this interview they had with some Black Tusk people, some Microsoft people, and with Rod Ferguson, who helped create the first 3 Gears of Wars. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is Rod's involvement in the first 3 Gears of Wars. Now, Rod, I think, was a lead creative designer. He managed a lot of things. He was very involved in the whole process. One thing that he mentioned was that they did not expect it to be a trilogy. He said that every time a game would come out, they'd say, "All right, well, this is the last game. We need to tie up a couple loose ends," which kind of explains some things, like how we never really heard. That kind of explains how Karn and Rom kind of go hand in hand when neither is really mentioned. How Scourge comes out of kind of nowhere. How, like, each plot can kind of tie itself up, and it can not tie itself up, I guess. Like, I guess Gears of War 3 is the only one that has a definitive ending, because, I mean, there are no more locusts, and then we just have to backtrack from there. But I think it's interesting. It wasn't supposed to be a trilogy. That's something that I never thought I would hear in my life, was that, hey, Gears of War is not supposed to be a trilogy. Another interesting thing, I guess, would be that Gears of War, if it had stayed Epic Games, now a lot of people were really concerned that it was going to Microsoft. We of course all knew that meant another Gears of War game, but we were all kind of waiting in anticipation for, you know, an announcement of anything. You know, I didn't care what it was, DLC, new game, you know, I didn't care. I wanted something, because the Judgment being the shiniest new thing they have on the market, and it not having that much longevity, you know, I was looking forward to anything. And as someone who loved Gears of War 3, you feel me. We all feel the same way here as Gears of War fans. Epic was gonna let Gears of War sit on the shelf for about a decade, they said in this interview. They did not want to break it back out, make a new game. They were going to focus on other things, as you can probably see, or as you may have heard. They've released a new Unreal Engine. They released a new Fortnite. A lot of new things have come out of Epic Games. A lot of new things that are not Gears of War. Now, these things are, of course, good and all and well, but, you know, of course, I wanted my Gears of War. So it's really nice to know that now we're going to be saved from that. It's not going to be another, I don't know, decade or so before we get the next Gears of War. Now, based on this interview that I saw, it's in, I want to say it's in Xbox Magazine. I'll have a link to it in the description, of course, as my source. But there was talk of how excited all of Epic Games was for the next Gears of War, or how excited Black Tusk was, for the next Gears of War. How they've been doing some new things, which is interesting and very risky in my opinion. Sure, we need a fresh breath into the Gears of War universe, but after the utter failure of Gears of War Judgment, I'm not sure how good a new direction would be. It seems like a much better idea, in my opinion, to maybe lean a little heavier on previous Gears of Wars instead of breaking out a new Gears of War that's different from anything else. Of course, there's still speculation on where the game's going to go. Is it going to be a sequel to Judgment? Is it going to be something completely different? Will it be Pendulum Wars? Locust Wars? What's it going to be? We don't know. It could be Marcus's time in the slab for all we know. We have no idea. They have kept their mouths tightly shut. All they have said is that they are excited, they are ready, and they are willing. And that brings us kind of to Microsoft's stance on the subject. So Microsoft, of course, founded Black Tusk Studios, and originally it was thought that this was simply for the next Gears of War, that they wanted a new studio to take over. That is not the case, actually. Black Tusk Studios actually asked for Gears of War, if I'm getting this correctly, or they chose Gears of War, it might be a better way to say it. They chose Gears of War instead of getting a new IP, which is probably a safe move for a new studio. I mean, if I had a new studio and I had the choice between an entirely brand new game, when I have, you know, no name out there, or an existing IP that does fairly well, I would choose existing IP every time. Because, believe it or not, even though Gears of War Judgment, you know, did so poorly, by all Gears of War standards. It's not the worst thing in the world, and it did well enough that I think it could preserve the series. You know, buy us a little more time. Of course, Gears of War, I hope, doesn't turn into, well, I mean, if it turns into Call of Duty, that's one thing, but I'm hoping, and it's looking like, Black Trust Studios doesn't want to do that. They don't want to make it into a yearly release. They're taking their time. They've already been more than blatant about that, how they want to take their time and do it right, by their opinion anyway, what is right. I respect that. I agree with that. That makes sense to me. That's what I would want to do. They're kind of saying, hey, back up. We're going to do this our way. And it makes sense to me. I think everyone else likes it. No one really is looking for anything, you know, so super big coming out in the next, you know, we're not looking for anything in the next week. We're good for now. Most Gears of War players have either moved back to Gears of War 3, have been on Judgment the whole time, or moved on to other games. A new Gears of War would be exciting, yes, but there are better times to do so, I feel, than right now. So with Black Trust Studio really getting this rejuvenation, they've got Microsoft at their back, they've got Microsoft money, their resources, you know, which is a great thing. They're ready to take the reins, and they have been, based on this article, they have been using Unreal Engine, which is what it looks like Gears of War 4, or Gears of War Judgment 2, or whatever it ends up being, is going to be run on, which is great. Same look, same feel. Everything that we're used to. Of course they have a good same engine. I don't know why that was up in the air, but I've heard some speculation that it wouldn't be, and that just seems far-fetched. So I'm going to have the link to the article down below. You're welcome to check it out. I have been Savage Bernie. If you enjoyed, leave a like and a comment. It really helps me out. I don't get paid for it, and I'm really glad that you took the time to watch my video. I have been Savage Bernie, guys, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.